What's going on, everybody? This is Troy Spry from ExclusiveThoughts.com. Welcome everybody out to dinner and dialogue. It's going to be a great time tonight. I'm so happy to have you guys out here. This is actually one of my favorite things to do, right? One of my favorite things to do is get men and women together and talk about issues, right? Because I feel like if we don't talk, we don't get solutions. A few ground rules for the night, though. A few ground rules. Number one, all right, keep it 100. That's the rule number one, is you got to keep it 100, because this is what I see a lot when it comes to talking about dating and relationships, right? Is that we say what people we think they want to hear, right, instead of what we really feel, and we get nowhere with that, right? The second part is keep it short. Keep it brief, because you know how I go. I know how I am. I get the mic in my hand. You see it now. I just keep talking and talking and talking, right? So we're gonna keep it short as well. And I think the last thing is have fun, right? Let's just have fun and put this out there for the world to see, so they know how people really feel about dating and relationships and men and women, all that good stuff. So y'all cool with that? Everybody cool with that? Just a little bit about me, so people look and they're like, who is this guy hosting this thing? I want to make sure they know who I am at least. I got a little bit of credibility, just a tad bit of credibility. So I'm a certified life and relationship coach. So I'm a founder of ExclusiveThoughts.com. I'm actually an author, a speaker, a facilitator, which I'm doing tonight, right? And I'm also a blogger. I started off as a blogger. And my newest book, I got to plug the book. If I don't plug the book, y'all see the book? It's teaching me how to love while what you don't know will hurt you. And so a lot of the things that we talk about tonight are kind of stuff that I'm basing off of the things I talked about in the book, right? Because I think this is where the meat is, right? The meat is the issues that are pertinent to you all, right? And so we're going to talk about some of those things tonight. So let's do that. Let's do that. My very first thing I do is a little icebreaker. I'm gonna pull up my fancy iPad right here. All right, so I do a little icebreaker to get things started. So here's a true or false question, right? True or false question. And whoever wants to answer, let me know. According to eHarmony, half of all singles in the U.S. haven't been on one date in the past 2 years. Is that true or false? You would say true? What you think? Don't be looking at my answer.
I'm not.
Don't be looking at my answers over here.
I'll go with false.
You go with false? False? 2 years? What you think?
I don't know. It sounds a little true.
A little true?
That sounds a little true.
Oh, well, it's true, right? So that's kind of crazy, right? Let me turn this phone. I keep hearing this thing go off. Let me turn it off. People act like I'm important, but I'm not. All right. So the answer is true. So the truth is, half of all singles in the U.S. haven't been on one date in the last 2 years. How y'all feel about that?
Like, well, what are they doing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. That's a good question, right? You believe it? That's a good question. What are they doing?
Depends on what they categorize as a date.
We're going to get to that tonight. I'm glad you brought that up. We're going to talk a little bit about that a little bit later on tonight.
To add to that, I would also say, just not. Excuse me. Well, thank you, sir. To be honest with you, I believe that it has to do a little something with priorities. If you're looking to go on a dating, or if you're in the market for dating or whatever, then of course, I think you're likely to have had a date within the last 2 years, as opposed to someone that's maybe either focusing on their career or kind of getting over a relationship or whatever.
I think it deals with the fact that we live in a Netflix and chill time. So I think it's a lot more of people like inviting people over to their house instead of saying, hey, let's go out and actually do something. Yeah. That is not a date.
See, we're going to get to that. We're going to get to that. All right, so here's question number 2. This is part of the icebreaker. What percent of adult Americans are currently single in the U.S.? What percent? Let me let y'all take a guess at that. So you got 60? 60? What y'all think? 70? 70? So the truth is 44%. Yep. 44%. Yeah. So, well, it's saying like not attached. You know what I mean? And so that's saying 100 million singles in America. There are 100 million singles in America. So how often y'all hear friends talking about ain't no single people out here? It's a bunch of single people. Now, I ain't saying they ain't got a boo. Like, you know, they ain't got no situation going, but they single. So just keep that in mind for everybody that's talking about there's no singles in America, all right? It's a lot of them out here. Question 3. Y'all love this one. What's the one thing that men most commonly lie about on their online dating profiles? She said height? What y'all think? Occupation? What you think?
I think it has something to do with like their career, like maybe like status or
How much money they make?
Relationship status.
She said relationship status. I can see that. They really married, ain't it? They really married. You got it right though. It's height. It's height. Yeah. So hey, listen. She would know that, right? So if they say he's 6 foot, he probably like 5'7". You know what I mean? All right. So here's the opposite question. What do women lie about the most on their online dating profiles?
Their weight.
Weight. What else? Job.
Occupation, just to be different.
Weight is weight. So if she say she weigh, you know, she say she weigh 100, she really about 2. I'm just telling you, that's what they say. I'm just playing. I'm just saying.
There's a lot of margin.
That is a lot of margin. I have had some friends though, who they be like, look, on her picture versus when I saw her, it was like, hey, women are mastered them filters. They done mastered the angles, boy. I mean, if they doing this, coming from up here, you already know it. You already know it. But it's all good. All right, here goes the last question for the icebreaker. What is the number of single females to males in Charlotte, North Carolina? It's a good question, ain't it? She said 7. 8 to 1. 6 to 1. What you think?
7 to 3. Female to male ratio.
Blank to 1. If I.
Female to male in Charlotte. Single.
8 to 1. What y'all think? Single females to males.
I would say it's something like 4-1, 5-1.
Okay. What about you? 4-1. What? 10 to 1. Dang. I know. It's actually 4 to 1. You're exactly right. It's actually 4 to 1. So it's really not as bad a ratio as people think it is. No, it's not. Look, if you look at Atlanta is 20 to 1. 20 to 1. 20 to 1 in Atlanta.
But no
Females to males.
take half of them out.
Right.
I guess you're right.
Too, right?
Nice. So let me tell you what Chicago is, though. Chicago's 34 to 1.
What?
Yep. And then New York is probably one of the worst. It's like 41 to 1. It's crazy, right? Y'all want to go to the big cities, right? Then you say you want to go to Atlanta?
No.
I thought you want to go to Atlanta.
You didn't think that.
Okay. All right. You're right. All right. So that's.
Weekends only.
So at least we got some good dialogue going, right? So those are some of the things I like to bring out statistical things. Not that I base everything off stats, but I think it gives some realism to what we see in the dating scene and to relationships, right? So I like to bring some data into it now. Let's get started with the conversation, though, where y'all get to talk a lot more. So I'm gonna pass this mic around. All right. So remember I said the fundamental thing that I think is wrong a lot of times in dating and relationships is that we don't seek to understand one another. Right? Men and women don't seek to understand one another, but we blame each other for everything. So I've got a chapter in the book, or 2 actually. One's called A New Lesson for Men and one's called A New Lesson for Women. And that's what I based this first question off of. So the first question is this. For the women, what's one thing that you wish men understood about you? Right? I'm talking about as the women species, right? And then for men, what's the one thing that you wish women understood about you? Remember the first rule was you got to keep it 100. right? And you got to be honest. So I want you to marinate on that for a second. I'm gonna let you think before you go.
I can't. Yeah, let her go first.
Ready?
Ready.
I think that men don't understand that 95% of the time we really do have your best interest in mind. It's not us being nosy, it's not us prying or anything like that. I just want to know you made it home because I'm going to sit here and worry. And it may be that one night that you struggle to get home. But I think that men don't usually understand that we usually have their best interest in mind.
So what do they usually take it as?
Nosy, prying, stalking, extra. That was an example.
Those are big extremes.
He's out drinking. We know he's out drinking, and it's like, okay, I need you. Like if we know you've been out with your boys and you drinking, we want to know that you made it home okay. We're not trying to figure out like where you at, what you're doing. Just are you okay? That type of thing. But I do have an answer. That I would like for y'all to understand that sometimes we do get jealous and we can't control that. So it's not a. And sometimes, right, how I'm gonna stop being jealous? No, but seriously, like, and sometimes it's like, if we're asking about a female, it's not because we don't trust you, it's because we don't trust her.
Okay, what else? Pass the mic. You got your answer?
I know you got something.
Feel free to give a few more if you want to.
All right. Most men understand that security is a big part in a relationship, and it's hard to balance everything. So it's hard for me to go out here and create a certain level or a certain lifestyle for you, but at the same time be here at your every beck and call and cater to that. So it's like when it comes to when you have a man that's ambitious, and you have to take that serious because a lot of men aren't, but when you have a man that's ambitious, going after different goals for you, your household, the things that they want to build, like support that. I know you want time, I know you want that companionship, but you got to understand the bigger picture in mind of it sometimes. And a lot of women, well, I'm not going to even say a lot, but some women make that hard. They make that real hard. They make you feel bad for trying to, create a better situation for you and her. And it's all out of an emotional thing. But you said it, Jelly, sometimes women can't control that emotional side. But, you stress us out sometimes.
Getting good. Wait on this microphone. She already ready to jump down his throat. You see that? Here you go.
Well, maybe with that, I mean, I totally understand what you're saying with that. But what about if guys would consider maybe just giving one day out of the week? Because sometimes y'all get so wrapped up in, certain things that you have to do and getting this done and, work or side work or whatever the case. And, the week is gone before you know it. So maybe, even if it's just an hour every day, it doesn't even have to be a whole day, just an hour where nothing else matters but your woman, and maybe that would cut out on some of the, oh, you never have time or, anything like that. So, and then my other thing as far as whatever the question that you asked.
Yeah, what's the one thing you want us to understand?
What you want us to understand is sometimes that we need time. I know a lot of times we hound you guys about what's wrong, what's going on, blah, blah, blah. But then sometimes when we're upset, sometimes we might not want to talk about it right away. We need time. It's not that we have an attitude and we don't want to tell you what's wrong. Sometimes we have to process it and calm ourselves down because then we're going to say things that we don't really mean. So we just need a moment. So just understand, we just need a moment.
You sure? All right. So to piggyback what you just said about like sometimes woman needs that time first. That's something that I had to learn the hard way. I think it's within a man to be like the fixer. You know what I mean? That's just kind of one of the things that's just inbred within our DNA. And so as soon as we recognize that there's a problem, it's very, very obvious. It's literally the analogy I use is like I'm normally walking into a room of of nothing but white sweaters, and there's one person with a red sweater, and that's you, and that's how noticeable I can tell. Like it is that something's bothering you, and as men, we want to fix it immediately. But I had to learn that sometimes you really should just let her simmer down, just let it process, and then you guys can approach the issue a little more level-headed. I'll say it like that. But I would say that the one thing that I wish. Hold on, let me make sure I restate the question correctly. One more time. What was?
What's the one thing what's the one thing that you wish the opposite sex knew about you?
Okay.
You personally, men.
Man, okay, yeah. The one thing I wish opposite sex knew about men is that although men have a lot of similarities in general, going from just man to man or whatever, but men actually love women differently. Different men love different women differently. It's just how it goes. And so it's very, very unfair to try to compare the way that your boyfriend or your husband or whichever shows his love and his affection to you versus how your ex or how your sister's husband or boyfriend or whichever does the same thing. One guy may be all about the compassion and the verbal forms of affection, whereas another guy is just 100% support. He's always pushing you to do whatever it is that you want to do and making sure that you have everything. So that would be my answer right there. It is critical.
Yep. Okay, I would say the one thing that I wish men knew about women is that we appreciate random acts of kindness. So, randomly taking us out to dinner, bringing flowers or our favorite candy, or, I don't know, coming home and the dishes are done. Like, just anything that's random act of kindness. Doesn't have to be anything big, just something simple, just to say, hey, I appreciate you. This is what I'm doing for you.
Thank you very much. All right, so what it sounds like to me is communication has to happen for all this to happen, right? We've got to communicate what our needs are, what our desires are, what our wants are, all those kind of things. But how often do we not communicate those things and then expect the other person just to know it? And I think that's where you see a lot of relationships fall apart, right? I just assumed that you knew that I wanted that random act of kindness, you know what I mean? And so we just got to communicate this different stuff with each other. Not all the time. You said understand. Well, if you say I really appreciate when you do blah 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 blah, then trust me, we ain't dumb as y'all think we are, right? We will reinforce. If you reinforce what you like, we'll do it again. You know what I mean? So that's really key. So I want to piggyback off that question, right? And I want to say, how many people are here single? Who's single? If you're single, raise your hand. 1, 2, 3 single. So it's a good balance, right? So for the people on the dating scene, right? So here's my question though. What's the one thing that you wish men knew about you or women knew about you as it pertains to dating? Not in the relationship like we just talked about, right? But as it pertains to how we date. What do you wish the opposite sex knew?
That just because I'm single, I am not trying to get married today. And I think a lot of guys think that, especially now that I'm 30, that I am dating to get married. I am dating to figure out what I like to then find the person that I want to get married to. Because if you don't know what you like, how do you know what you're looking for?
Mine is it goes into like actual dating. Like for me, I don't really like movie and a dinner, because movies we can't talk. Dinner we can talk a little bit what we're eating. So I like things, because for me I'm a little bit timid. So I like to do things like bowling, active stuff, so that I can, it'll be easier for me to have a conversation with you and to learn more about you instead of sitting out asking, when's your birthday? What's your favorite color? How many sisters do you have? Yeah, you got any pets? Like stuff like that. Yeah.
All right, so I would first like to say that those were both excellent answers because I'm the exact same way. I'm a little more, I think I pretty much have a general idea of what I want, but I'm still in the same boat, trust me. But my answer would be that it's almost, I think, something that was mentioned earlier. Whereas, a lot of women say that they love the aspect of this ambitious guy, this go-getter, this hustler. Like he's out here and he wants to get it. But they sometimes forget that I haven't made it yet. Just because I may have graduated from school, or just because I may have just received a promotion or something like that, that doesn't mean that I've made it to that level. And I'm still chasing these larger dreams and these goals and everything. And if I'm not available to go on a random date that you just kind of happen to throw in my calendar at like 4:55 p.m., then that doesn't mean I'm not interested. It just means that just not right this moment. But I can try to I can work something out.
Excuse me. So, for those who are involved, right? How long have you been? Are you married, right?
Yeah.
How long have you been married?
For 7 years.
7 years. How long have you been married? 2.5 years. And you're in a relationship, right? How long? 2 years, right? So I want y'all to think back to your younger dating self, right? And if you really think about now that you're in a relationship compared to when you were dating back then, what would your younger self had wished guys knew about you when you were dating? Think back to that. So I think we need some other perspectives. Did you not date?
Know about myself when I was
She said she didn't even know.
I didn't even know.
Oh, you married your high school sweetheart. You ain't even date. You don't even count. You don't even count. You ain't even in that next question. How about, did you have a dating season?
I did.
And so what do you wish people would have done differently, or would have been done differently?
So this is what I wish they would have done differently, or what I would have done differently. I need a moment to marinate on that one.
Ready, Freddy over here.
This almost kind of piggybacks on what she was speaking of. Women sometimes make it hard for you to be a gentleman. So pretty much to answer the question, I'm not everybody's husband just because I'm nice, or just because, I'm a gentleman, or I do these, random acts of kindness. It's like you'll do a few things and a lot of women will be like, oh my God, it's him. He's the one I've been waiting on. And in a week or two, you know what I'm saying? In a week or two, it's went from I'm trying to get to know you to like, you've gotten real attached and real clingy and real personable, and you take it way, way, way too fast. So, my advice would be take your time. These are things that I thought men were supposed to do. It doesn't necessarily mean I'm your husband.
Okay. I like that. So I got to give my input real quick. Let me give my input. So I want to go back to the first question about what I wish women knew about men, right? And this is going to be a surprise to you guys, but I want women to understand that men have feelings, right? Men have feelings. And so I see so many times with relationships, even when dating, women want men to have feelings when it's convenient for them, right? He can have feelings when it's telling you how much he loves you and how beautiful you are and how much I care about you and all this other kind of stuff. But the minute I'm upset about something, all right, my feeling is hurt about something or whatever, it's like, that's soft. You're not supposed to do that. You know what I mean? You're the man. You know what I mean? And so what I see a lot of times is men shows emotion or vulnerability. All of a sudden, he gets judged for it, and guess what he doesn't do again? Show emotion or vulnerability, right? And I see this happen all the time. These are the same men who are telling you, nah, I'm my fallback game strong, I ain't catching no feelings, you know what I mean? But it's really a hurt man, is what it really happened. And so I want women to understand that if a man has some level of emotion or feeling, it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because you're going to want him to have that at some point. And so I just want to be really conscious of that. As far as the dating part goes, I think we got to understand something, that when it's right, it's easy, right? And I think that's one of the chapters I have in my book, right? So when it's right, it's easy. And what I see in dating so much is it's so hard for no reason, right? We try to fit square pegs in round holes, and it just doesn't work that way. If you ever really think about when you got with your husband, it wasn't hard, was it? It wasn't hard. When you got with your husband, was it hard? Was it like some knockdown, drag-out conversation about what are we and what are we doing? And it wasn't none of that, right? When you got your lady, I bet it was easy, wasn't it? It was easy. So my whole point is when it's right, it's easy. And the dating process will be easy too. If you got to overthink it and justify it and try to figure out all this other extra stuff with it, it's probably not the right person. So we're going to pause for a second and grab some food, and then we'll be right back after this commercial break.